So if you clicked on this video, I'm pretty sure you're well aware of what the Call of Duty cycle is. But as I'm sure you guys know, Call of Duty has gone through a lot of changes over the years. And I think it's safe to say that the traditional Call of Duty cycle is not really existent anymore. So today I wanted to make this video to talk about the new Call of Duty cycle and what it even means. So let's get right into this because
it's very hard.
I'm on Black Ops 4 today. I'm going to be trying out the Bare Bones Mosh Pit playlist, which is basically a no specialist mode. As far as I'm aware, I haven't played it yet. And as I've said many times recently, I haven't been really frequently playing Black Ops 4. And it's kind of the reason why I wanted to make this video today. It's because there is a new Call of Duty cycle. And it's not a very good one either. For any of you newbies out there that started with like COD Ghost or Advanced Warfare, let me explain the Call of Duty cycle. The Call of Duty cycle was like a pattern that existed back in the older times of Call of Duty, when the only two teams that were developing the game were Infinity Ward and Treyarch. Essentially what was going on back then is that Infinity Ward at the time was like the god tier studio, and they were making the top tier Call of Duty games that people loved the most and expected the most out of. And at the time, Treyarch was just playing catch up and they weren't making games as good as Infinity Ward was. Let's see if I can find the picture. So I actually pulled up the actual Call of Duty cycle picture. God, this feels so fucking weird to play. There we go. I should be on COD 4 or something, I don't know. Ah! Get away from me. I don't know if I can handle this game, honestly. I might switch Call of Duty's mid-video. Oh, God. Oh, but then that happens. Let me shoot! Why do concussions exist? Why is this game the way that it is? I think... What am I doing? Why does it feel so weird to play this game? Oh my God, wearing your fucking... Okay, I'm quitting Black Ops 4 now. I want to actually be able to play something that I'm not going to do completely horrible at. Not this yet. Let's go to COD World War II. Oh, I gotta put the disc in. How do you insert a disc? Oh my God, digital games have ruined everything. Well, they spoiled us, rather. I have disc copies for World War II and Black Ops 4, though. Anyway, while this is loading, let me talk about the actual Call of Duty cycle. So the way it used to work is that in November, you go crazy over how good the new Call of Duty game is, which is essentially what a lot of people call the honeymoon phase. In January, you're still enjoying the game. In February, you hate the game like everybody else. And then when it hits March, you say that the previous Call of Duty game is now the best game. And the current Call of Duty game that's out is just trash. Utter garbage. And then in May, you go crazy about the next Call of Duty trailer. And then that cycle repeats itself. But there is a new Call of Duty cycle, and it started once Sledgehammer Games started making Call of Duty games. It's no longer just Infinity Ward and Treyarch making these games now. It's now Sledgehammer Games as well. We're no longer in a 2-year cycle that repeats itself. We're in a 3-year cycle. I know at this point that's not necessarily anything new, but it has created one new cycle, and I'm personally going to create a graphic for what that is. So here's the new Call of Duty cycle in terms of development. We have the Sledgehammer Games Call of Duty game, which is usually an experimental one. It's described as a game that's completely unpredictable as far as it goes for the time, era, and setting. It could be futuristic exoclowns. It could be a World War II game. After Sledgehammer Games, you then have Treyarch. Oh. Ah, just a quad feed. I could have had so many more. But yeah, Treyarch is now hailed as like the best studio that's making Call of Duty, which subsequently puts the most pressure on them to actually develop the best Call of Duty games that we can get. Their games are more likely to be put up on a pedestal and then fall from that pedestal. But overall, they have a pretty decent reception from the Call of Duty community. And then you have modern day Infinity Ward. The recent Infinity Ward games in this cycle have been kind of lackluster. They haven't gotten a really good reception from the community, and people's expectations are generally lower. However, their games are still relatively fun. And if you're like me, you might not get invested in their games, but they are fun to play from time to time. But you might not get as invested in their games. As far as it goes for the new Call of Duty cycle, here's where we're at. Sledgehammer Games will make an experimental Call of Duty game that some of the community will like and some of it won't. Treyarch will then make a game like Black Ops or Black Ops 4 that has some ties into the old roots of Call of Duty games, but isn't quite the old Call of Duty game, and it has a really good reception, but might not actually be all that well loved by the community. And then after that, Infinity Ward's gonna release some trash Call of Duty game that most of the community does not like at all. And that's when the cycle starts to repeat itself, and that's where these trends come from. The current Infinity Ward team does not have the capability to catch the Call of Duty community's attention. So what ends up happening is Sledgehammer Games is tasked with making a Call of Duty game that actually captures our attention. Whether it's exosuits and laser guns and supply drops that completely divides the community, or a classic World War II Call of Duty game like this. Their job is to try to reel us back in and keep us interested in Call of Duty. But what's happened with Advanced Warfare and Call of Duty World War II is that usually the games don't hold you over for the entire year, which then in the cycle has people wanting a Treyarch game, because in the past they've been associated with making higher quality Call of Duty games. That also keeps fans playing their games a little bit longer. But then it all falls apart again when Infinity Ward makes the next game. So that is the new Call of Duty cycle. But because of Call of Duty World War II, it goes a little bit deeper than that, and I'll explain. Call of Duty World War II started something interesting. This isn't anything that I rehearsed. I don't have it like nailed down to the month, but Call of Duty World War II started a new trend that Black Ops 4 is actually following as well. So here's another one of the new Call of Duty cycles. Even if we're just on Call of Duty World War II, let's just go to the playlist select screen. When Call of Duty World War II first came out, it did not have all of these game modes. It didn't have ground war, and I think it even had more variety here appear in the standard playlist. I'm not sure if I'm getting this 100% right, but I'm pretty sure it had like Hardpoint and Kill Confirmed as standalone game modes. They didn't group it together like they are now. I think they did have Capture the Flag and Gridiron separate though, along with Search and Destroy. Basically what I'm trying to say here is that when this game first launched, it had all of the standard Call of Duty game modes that we'd expect. It had TDM, it had Domination, Search, you name it. But it took Sledgehammer Games a long time to actually add more game modes. You know, the game modes that we actually enjoy and have the most fun playing, not just the standard modes. I'm talking about Ground War. I'm talking about actually having a whole party games list, which they have now. It took them months to add Infected, Prop Hunt, Gun Game, and they have their own unique modes like Dogfight and Headquarters 24/7. But it's one of those things where we're still missing some of the party game modes like One in the Chamber and Six in Stones. But at least Call of Duty World War II now has party games, and they have hardcore and they have a featured playlist as well. But here's the point I'm trying to make. Call of Duty World War II did not launch with all of this content. We didn't have all of these maps and game modes, all of these options at launch. It took many months for Call of Duty World War II to build up to what I believe is a complete Call of Duty game, a full experience. And this is the same boat we're in with Black Ops 4. I have to insert the disc again.
We have the technology.
What I'm about to show you guys is actually something that's very dangerous. It's very bad for Call of Duty. So now I'm on Black Ops 4. I'm gonna load into multiplayer. And if I'm not mistaken, we're what, 6 months into the release of Black Ops 4? Let's take a look at our playlist offerings on Black Ops 4. If I go to select playlist, we have the featured, we have core, and we have hardcore. We don't even have party games on Black Ops 4. We have 9 standard game modes, we have 6 hardcore variants, and then we have whatever's in the featured playlist. We have less game mode choices, especially less fun game mode choices in Black Ops 4. This should just be downright unacceptable. And this is really the unfortunate bad news that I wanted to give you guys. This is a really vicious part of the Call of Duty cycle. We're now at a point where the expectations are so high, especially because of a game like Fortnite, that we as Call of Duty fans expect a lot of content in the game at launch. And it puts us in a situation where a game like Call of Duty World War II has more content now than Black Ops 4 does at launch or 6 months after the launch. It's really bad. You will get more for your money and you'll get more value in a game like Call of Duty World War II versus Black Ops 4. And that's really bad because this is the current Call of Duty game. This is the game that everyone should be playing and enjoying. And the only way you're gonna find yourself regularly playing Black Ops 4 is if you really just like the content that they have to offer right now. You'd have to be completely content with just playing Team Deathmatch 24/7. Me personally, I've been playing this series for over 10 years. I can't just keep playing these same game modes over and over and over. You can only play them so much with some slightly new maps and some slightly new weapons here and there before it starts to get very stale. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it's because I have been playing Call of Duty for a very long time, but they really do need to step up and innovate a lot more than they currently have been. But I think that's gonna do it for this video. If you're casually just sitting here watching this video and you're like,
Eric, why do you always just make hate videos on Call of Duty?
Why did you make this video?
I'm making this video because I'm pretty sure that we're gonna get a trailer for this year's Call of Duty game at some point. It's probably coming up in April or May, and kind of prepare you guys for this year's Call of Duty game and see if it actually does line up with this new Call of Duty cycle. But again, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this Call of Duty video. If you guys did and you want to see some more COD stuff, make sure to drop a like. I'll see you guys later.